Come on, I want to wash my hands. What's this about? On March 18th, the White House sent out a letter with the Environmental Protection Agency talking about disabling cyber attacks that are striking water and wastewater systems throughout the United States. In the letter, they talk about a threat from the Iranian government Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Say that 3 times fast. And they are out there conducting cyber attacks and kind of penetration testing against our water supply and water systems, along with the People's Republic of China. In this letter, it brings to light the fact that IRGC-affiliated cyber actors have targeted and disabled a common type of operational technology used at water facilities where the facility had neglected to change the manufacturer's default password. Like, this just blows my mind. How can it be in this day and age that we are so lax at some of our security that we just don't even change the default passwords? I mean, I can maybe get behind that there's a few places where people just don't realize you need to do this, but come on, this is now talking about critical infrastructure. So in this video, I want to talk about the importance of doing things like changing default passwords and talking a little bit about password security. I mean, one of the first things you need to do when you buy any piece of technology equipment is set it up. And usually as part of that process, it asks you for a username and a password. The worst thing you can ever do is keep a default username and a default password, because those default username and passwords are spread all over the web. Every support document for every product lists the default username and the default password, so you can actually get in there and set it up in case you lost your instructions or you've done a factory reset or something like that. You need to be able to get back in there and reestablish the system. But to not change those is just foolish. So whenever you get a piece of equipment, especially things like new routers, potentially cable modems, even if it comes from someplace like your cable supplier, if you can change the password so it's something that only you know. Likewise, with all your software, establish something other than the default password, and also change the username as well. You want to have a unique username and a password that nobody else knows. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for attack. As we talk about passwords, there's some simple things we can do there. I would recommend keeping them no shorter than 16 characters. A published study came out a few years ago that indicated that 45% of Americans use a password that is 8 characters or less, and that is just too easy to crack. Remember, the password should be comprised of numbers, letters, and special characters. And I know special characters are a little tricky because not every system accepts the same special characters as others, but you can generally be safe with most punctuation marks, the @ sign, the pound sign, the $sign, those type of things, just mixing in those somewhere in the password. And it can't be as simple as just replacing the letter E with the number 3. Like, you've got to be a little bit more complex than that, because the exploitation systems all know that people replace E's with 3s and S's with 5s and 1s with exclamation points. So you've got to be a little bit more original in how you create those passwords. Remember, don't share passwords, because if you create a complex password here and use it on 5 different websites, and that password gets broken on one site, well, it has now at risk at all the other websites where that password has been used. So you need to keep that password unique on all systems. Another kind of no-brainer thing with passwords is don't use any user identifiable information. You know, people around you know your kids' names, they know your address, they know where you were born. Do not include any of that information in your password. It needs to have no user identifiable information. Otherwise, you're just making it that much easier for people to guess your passwords. It's best if your password doesn't contain any consecutive numbers or letters. That also makes it easy for systems to guess. So try not to use consecutive repeating letters if you can. Also, let's not use the word password as part of your password. I can't count the number of times I've actually had to go help somebody with their system and they're like, oh yeah, it's just password, or password 123, or password 321, because nobody will ever guess something like that. Common sense things. Make it long, 16 characters, special characters, no user identifiable information, no consecutive letters or numbers. Do not use the word password. It's not rocket science. So with that, what I want to do is let's jump over to a computer. We're going to go to security.org and we're going to look at some different password combinations to show you how simple it is to actually create a secure password. And we're also going to show you like an easy little trick to remember to make really complex, really secure passwords, but easy to remember. And again, watch my other videos as well where I talk about password managers. Specifically, I like 1Password, but there are a lot of great password managers out there. But I personally think 1Password is a great solution, and I've got an introductory video on 1Password, and then I've also got a complete how to set up 1Password. So with that, let's jump over to the computer and see if we can learn a little bit more at security.org. All right, thanks for joining me at the computer. You'll see we've got a website pulled up. The website is security.org/how-secure-is-my-password. This is a great place to just do some quick password testing to see how secure your passwords are. Let's start by doing password, all lowercase. Your password would be cracked instantly. Let's try password 123, all lowercase. Oh, 1 month. Let's take things up a notch though from password 123. Let's use a random password that was generated by 1Password, and that is this password right here that's highlighted in yellow. You'll see it's a complex password. It's 20 characters long. It's got a mix of symbols, numbers, and letters. Let's put that into how secure is my password. Remember, the last one we were at was what, password 123, which was about 1 month. Now we'll use this password, 42 quintillion years. That seems like a reasonably secure password at this point. And it is, and that's the beauty of using something like a password manager. I'm never gonna remember how to type that particular password, but 1Password, for example, your password manager would remember that. But there's another way to go about this, and that is to use passphrases. This is a pretty easy to use way to remember logins, exclamation point. So let's paste this in and see how long it would take to crack this password. We're going from 42 quintillion years to 31 whatever that is, sesquigentillion years. I don't even know how to say that. That's a big number, a long time, probably longer than you and I will be around. But I wanted to use that as an example because things like passphrases, which are just simply sentences, but fairly long sentences, are actually quite secure method for passwords and quite difficult for systems to crack. Password exploitation systems are not usually working on passphrases. They're usually working on words and combinations of words and letters. So a sentence is actually quite a complicated method for protecting passwords. You could even do something shorter, like I love 1password.com, and it's saying 100 quintillion years. You could try something as simple as I love my children. Let's put that in real quick. So you can see here, I love my children exclamation point is 4 quintillion years. Using sentences is a pretty good way to protect your accounts. If you want to make it even more difficult, you can make them random sentences or just a series of random words. Another thing you can do, if you're just in a pinch and you don't have a password manager at hand and you need a strong password, just go to security.org and click on the random password generator. Put in a password length. I talked about some common things that I'd recommend with passwords, those being 16 characters. So let's bump this up to 16 characters. We want lowercase, uppercase, numbers, and symbols. And you can see right away it's generated a pretty complex password. Let's test that. We'll copy and paste it. And we'll go back to the security.org, how secure is my password link, paste that in. You can see 2 trillion years. So it's a quick way to get those passwords down and get them secure. Just remember, you're going to have to document that. If you're using this system, it's not going to save that for you. If you did have something like 1Password installed, though, it would automatically save that when you logged in somewhere with that password. I hope you found this video useful. Just remember some quick tips. Always change default passwords, change default usernames, make your passwords secure, at least 16 characters, upper and lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, no repeating numbers. Sentences also make great passwords. And finally, really use a password manager. It'll make your life so much easier. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Live. So no.